Oh, yo, Algebraniacs! Welcome to the Johnson Kendro Video Hour.
But it's not an hour.
We are so happy that you're with us today and for a while. So, this is Algebra 2.
Yeah!
Yeah,
Woo!
it's twice as good as Algebra 1.
Lesson 1-1.
All right, 1-1, it's a good place to start. Patterns and expressions. All right, so we're going to work on just seeing what kind of patterns are going on in the world around us and on our Algebra 2 book pages. So look at these patterns from left to right, and would you be able to draw the next figure in the pattern?
So what do you notice about this?
Well, I noticed they have a black square in the middle of all of them.
Okay.
So that's kind of our starting point.
Yep.
And then it gets bigger and bigger, but by how much?
It adds a square basically to each, we call those stems or something?
Yeah.
Each point.
Basic figure.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I have one square, then I have two, then I have three, so the next one would be...
So it's asking what is the pattern, so that means in words we have to say.
All right.
So you would write on your paper, what would you say, Mrs. Kendro?
I would probably say adding one more square to each branch.
Oh, branch, I like that.
Branch. Ooh, I like your little square.
Thanks. I'm lazy.
Hey, most mathematicians are. So.
Okay, and then we also have to draw the next figure.
All right. Little...
2. How many are there going to be?
4.
3, 4. Here's the black one.
Good move.
Mr. Tiana would be so disappointed in me right now.
So yeah, you don't have to be a great art student to show...
What are you trying to say?
I'm not saying a word. Great art student to be able to do that pattern there.
Alright.
So
Boom,
that's
done.
Yep, easy enough. All right, now we want to throw a little algebra into this process. So they want to know how many tiles are in the 25th figure. Oh, wow. So I don't want to draw 25 of those. Do you?
No, that'd be a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. So instead, we're going to use a table and have this thing called a process column.
So what is a process column?
It helps you figure out the process and figure out how the pattern goes. On the left here, we have some hints.
There we go.
Here, we'll get a little full screen. All right, so it says, first hint, find the rate of increase or decrease in the output. So what's happening?
So what is the output here? That is the...
number of tiles that are total.
So in the
picture.
first figure, how many tiles are there?
I see 4.
Okay. And then in the second figure, there are...
6.
And then in the third figure, there are...
8.
All right, and we don't know any others.
Right. Now
So-
I could do this 25 times. It's a little bit faster, but it's still a lot to do. So instead, we're going to use this process column to help us get an algebraic pattern.
So find the rate of increase or the decrease in the output value. So I'm focusing on these numbers and finding out what's happening each time. So what is happening? How do you get from 4 to 6 to 8? You are...
Adding 2.
Okay, that number is going to go in front of the input number in your process column.
Aha.
So I'm using a 1 because my input number is 1. So what is 2 times 1?
2.
I want it to be 4.
I need to add a couple more.
So you would
Put a
add
in
2.
there. Okay.
So now, that's what we did, that we just did the second step. So now step 3 is test it out, see if that really works. So I want to take the rate of increase, which was 2 in this case, multiply it by the input number and add 2 to it and see if that becomes a true statement.
Hey, it looks pretty true.
Okay, what about here? 2 times 3 plus 2, is that 8?
Yes, it is. I think we got our winner here.
All right, so our goal was to find out what would happen if we had 25 figures. 2 times 25 is?
50.
Plus 2 is?
52.
Okay, that would be our answer.
Cool.
Do you think, what if I could do that in my head without the process column? Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But the process column
But,
kind of
yeah, be ready to explain yourself. You know, if you just put an answer down, you gotta be able to explain what your brain was thinking.
All right. The last thing here, the nth figure, what does that mean?
And that means whichever number we want it to be. So we gotta kind of generalize.
So this number represented the input number every time. So if we wanted to find the nth figure,
Put an
we
N
would
in
put
there.
an n in there. So our little expression is 2n plus 2.
So that's the algebraic expression for any column or any number of tiles that you want to figure out.
Occasionally the textbooks ask you to write a rule, and that's what the rule is. It just
I
means an
see.
expression.
Okay.
I have a question. What if the numbers were going down instead of increasing by 2? What do you think would change?
Probably the +2 would become a -2.
No, that would just, they would still be increasing.
So, oh, I see what you're asking. So probably the 2 in the front would be a negative.
Yeah, if it's ever decreasing,
Gotcha.
the number in front of n is going to be negative.
Oh, that's
Doesn't
good
happen
to
very
know.
often, but there are a couple like that. Okay.
All right, here's the next problem. So we're gonna fill in the table. This is more like what the book's gonna have for you. So we're gonna want you to add a process column. We'll just abbreviate PC.
Or you could put it in the middle when you're drawing your own table, but I'm, again, just being lazy.
Okay, well, that's par for the course. Okay, so input is 1, output is 2, 2, then 4, 3 and 6, 4 and 8. What's happening every time?
Every time we are going up by
2.
2. So that's going to be 2 times the input number. What is 2 times 1?
2.
So we don't have to add anything.
Oh,
What about 2 times input number 2? Is that 4?
yep,
Okay, 2 times 3
Ah,
and
very
2
good.
times 4. Okay, so now we got some fill in the blanks we need to do. So if we plug in a 2 times 5, what are we going to get?
10,
All right, so that's one thing we had to fill in. How about the next one?
12.
That's going to be a 12. Here's a tricky one.
2
2.
times n.
That's the rule.
That's a simpler rule. There's
Okay.
no adding or subtracting.
I think I get it.
Cool. All right, here's another one. Add your PC.
Process column.
Not politically correct.
We are politically correct most of the time.
Most of the time.
All right.
All right, here we go. So what are we increasing by?
Well, here
Sorry.
it's 3.
Yeah.
3.
3.
Okay, that's our thing.
So that's our number. Let's put the 1. Now how do we get 3 times 1 to equal a 5?
Well, 3 times 1 is 3. So if you were to add 2,
Mm-hmm.
so does that work here? 3 times 2 plus 2 is 8, so that works.
Looks like that's our...
Yeah. So you would continue that. We'd get down here. 3 times 5 plus 2 is going to be...
17.
Okay, next is 3 times 6 plus 2 is going to be
20.
20. So those were the ones we had to fill in. So what is the rule?
3 times n plus 2.
Perfect.
Nice. And so the output, you can either add 3 and then
Yeah.
do the PC column, or do the PC column and then do the output.
The nice part about doing the process column is it helps you develop the rule. You know, so if we weren't going in order, sure, it's easy when it goes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to just
Right.
keep adding 3 every time. But again, if you want to find the 25th figure, that'd be a lot.
Right, right. Shortcuts are the name of the game. Okay, what kind of fish is that?
It's a platey?
Platy. All right, shows the total cost of platies at the aquarium.
I had to Google that. I didn't know what that was.
That's Google's, that's what it's for. It's Googlicious. All right, we got to find the cost of 6 platies. So we got a chart or a graph here that's going to help us out too. All right, so input, my first input is 0.
They say 0 fish. How much money did we spend?
0 money.
$0.
Okay,
Okay, the next dot they give us is here.
looks like the input is 1 and the total cost is 2.
Okay, the next dot is here.
So 2 and 4, and then 3 and 6.
Okay, so let's do that process column here.
All right, what are we
You're probably
increasing by?
We are increasing by 2
Mhm.
every
So
time.
that goes in front.
So that's 2 times 1. 1. That is 2.
Yeah, so we're done there. Next one is 2 times 2, 2 times 3.
All right, etc. So the rule is to take 2 and multiply it by the input number. So we wanted to find out if we were to buy 6 Pleiades. So that's 2 times 6. It will be
$12.
Cool.
Oh, holla.
awesome.
Pretty good. All right, some vocabulary. You have to realize what they're asking you in the directions. So if it says identify a pattern,
This means do it in just words. So describe. So that was kind of the first problem that we did. We used
describe or identify.
right. Add it to the branch or whatever you
The
said.
next two kind of mean the same thing, right?
Yes.
So write a rule and find the nth figure. So that is where you really have to write the algebraic expression. There you go. Good example.
Cool.
Alrighty, well, that's all we have for you today.
Bring your video notes to class.
Yep,
And we'll do practice problems on these types of problems.
yep, and we'll just keep cruising right along.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Bye.